In this video, you're going to learn about something called the Ab Avalanche. The Ab Avalanche. And this is just a metaphor that I made up because your body is a lot like a mountain that is filled with snow. If you imagine yourself and you're on the top of a mountain with a friend of yours and you're speaking quietly isn't really going to be enough in order to trigger an avalanche of snow to come tumbling down the mountain. However, if you just yell as loud as you can for just a few seconds, that level of volume is going to be enough to trigger all of that snow to come tumbling down, whereas speaking at a normal volume only causes small bits and pieces to come tumbling down. And your body is the same way. When you do low intensity and moderate intensity exercises such as jogging and most weightlifting, it's the equivalent of speaking at that low volume. You're not challenging your body enough, you're not pushing it hard enough to cause an avalanche of hormones to come tumbling down. And that avalanche of hormones is what allows you to do one 30-minute exercise once a week and have it be more effective than jogging every single day of the week. You have to flip those switches and cause that avalanche to come coming down. And the way that you do this is through high intensity exercise. You have to push yourself to the limit. The good news is you only have to do it once a week. You can do it up to 3 times a week. I usually do it twice a week, but really once a week is plenty. It'll get you the results that you want. When you do low intensity and moderate intensity exercises, even if it's weightlifting, you're only really hitting kind of certain muscles, but you're not hitting your body at the deepest level of hormone release, and that's where all of the fat loss and the muscle growth comes from. It comes from the hormones that react and propel your body into this state and that heal your metabolism. So we can't cover every high intensity exercise out there. There are a few, and I cover a few in the 6-Pack Success course. However, I'm just going to give you one right now that really works very well, and it doesn't matter where you are, you should be able to do this. And it is sprinting. Sprinting. Now, I don't just mean sprinting with shoes on out on the street or on the track. You can do sprints with just about any kind of stationary machine. Like if you have a stationary bicycle or a recumbent bicycle where you lie back and you cycle with your legs, you can do it on a stepper. I have a stepper right here. So long as the machine will allow you to go as fast as possible. That's very important, to be able to go as fast as possible to do this high intensity exercise. I prefer sprints because I live near the beach, so I just go out on the beach and sprint barefoot through the sand, excuse me, and that works really, really well for me. However, I've done it on machines as well, and it works just as well. Now, what happens when you do this kind of exercise, and how do you do it? Well, the main benefit that you get, or the main benefits that you get from doing this kind of exercise, is that it releases several key hormones that shed fat, empty your cells of excess sugar, and tone your muscles. So it's directly related to you getting 6-pack abs. Now, one of the hormones that gets released when you do this type of exercise is called human growth hormone, or HGH. And this type of exercise can increase your levels of human growth hormone by over 700%. That's very significant because this is also known as the youth hormone, and it's also known as the fitness hormone. And it is very, very important that you maintain adequate levels of human growth hormone in your body, especially as you age, because if you look at your levels of human growth hormone here, and this is your age here, your human growth hormone goes like, and it plummets the older you get. So the older you get, the harder it is for your body to produce human growth hormone and keep you fit and young and sexy. So you must keep these levels nice and high. So what does human growth hormone do for you exactly? Well, one of its main functions is to promote fat loss. And as you recall from our last video, you have two components to getting a six-pack abs, and one of them is low body fat percentage. So human growth hormone directly lowers your body fat percentage. Now, if you remember, the other condition for a six-pack abs is muscle tone. Human growth hormone's other roles, one of its other roles, is to improve muscle tone. Now, there are a host of other benefits, mostly related to general fitness and general health and anti-aging, for which human growth hormone is responsible. But in terms of getting a six-pack, it hits the big two, which is fat loss and improved muscle tone. And like I said, you can increase your human growth hormone by up to 700% by doing these sprint exercises, which we're going to get into how to do those in just a second. Now, another hormone that gets released is testosterone. You know, anytime you work out and you do a high intensity workout that works all of your muscles, you're going to stimulate the release of testosterone in the body. And you've probably heard that testosterone is sort of the quintessential male hormone because it's responsible for all of these things like hair growth and muscle growth and feelings of well-being. And it's true, testosterone is vital to growing your muscles, to improving your muscle tone, to losing fat, and to improving your feeling of well-being and your feeling of vigor, not to mention your sexual desire and your libido. That's a whole different can of worms. But, you know, so whenever you do these kinds of high-intensity exercises that work the whole body, you produce this ab avalanche of hormones, this cascade of hormones. Now, I've only discussed two hormones, human growth hormone and testosterone, but there are many, many more very, very vital changes that go on in the body when you do these kinds of burst type exercises. So let's just go through, and I'm going to show you how, or I'm going to explain how to do sprints properly. And now, it doesn't matter where you are, if you're sprinting on the beach or if you're doing it on a machine of some sort, this is how you do it. You're going to go for between 5 to 8 sprints. And depending on how fit you are, you may not be able to get to 8. When I started, I could only do 6, and some days I go out there and I can only do 6 anyway. And I'm in pretty good shape, so getting to 8 is sort of a goal. But it's not necessarily what you need to do. You need to do as much as you can. You basically need to exhaust yourself like crazy for half an hour. And also, let me warn you, this is hard. All right, this is hard because jogging for an hour at a moderate intensity is easy. You're not really doing anything. You're not pushing yourself. You're just kind of going through the motions. And for your body, it's the same thing. It's like, well, you're not really challenging me, so I'm not going to react by releasing hormones. But this is really, really tiring, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to warm up and you're going to stretch a little bit. Make sure you stretch out. And you're going to do your first sprint or your first burst. And you're going to do it for about 30 seconds. Now, if you're sprinting, you probably won't get 30 seconds. You'll probably get more like 15 seconds. But it doesn't really matter. The time isn't that important. What's important is that you do that sprint as hard as you can until you cannot go any further. Okay, you are sprinting as hard as you can until you have to stop because your body's like, whoa, hold up. As soon as you get done with your sprint, keep moving. Keep moving slowly. Don't sprint again, but just keep moving slowly. You want to keep active because if you just stop, it's actually going to make you more tired than if you keep going. So just keep going, and if you've just completed a sprint, you know, just jog it out a little bit, just walk, and start walking back to the place where you started, or if you're sitting down or if you're on a machine, take about a minute and a half, about 90 seconds, and keep moving, okay? And once you hit that 90-second mark, you're going to do your second sprint. And you're going to continue to do this for as many rounds as you can do. It might be 4, it might be 9. Everybody's different, you know, don't hold yourself to, or don't beat yourself up if you don't reach 8. Just do the best that you can with what you have at the moment. Now, a couple of details on this exercise. When you complete your first sprint, it's very important that you keep your breathing nice and rhythmic. Okay, so you just finished your sprint and your breathing is going to be heavy. I want you to control your breathing, okay? Breathe deeply into your stomach, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and try to slow your breathing down just a little bit. Your body's going to fight you. It's going to want to keep your breathing fast, but I want you to slow it down just a little bit. You're training your body to use less oxygen, to get more mileage out of the fuel that you already have. And in fact, when you're doing your sprint, when you're actually in the middle of it, it's good to breathe rhythmically as well, for that very same reason. And as you're doing this entire sequence, it's very, very important that you just focus on your breathing. In fact, I would recommend that you not focus on anything else whatsoever. Don't think about anything else, work, nothing. Just focus on what you're doing, because it's going to be very challenging. And if you let your mind wander, you're going to get kind of bored, and you're going to stop focusing on this very, very important burst of exercise. Okay, so another very important detail that you need to pay attention to is once you complete this workout, well, there are two details actually. Let me share two with you. The first is, once you complete this workout, expect to be very, very tired. You may even want to go take a nap right afterwards. It's totally exhausting, and that's the point, because that's what triggers this avalanche of hormones to come tumbling down into your bloodstream. So don't be freaked out if you're really, really tired afterwards. Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you avoid all sugar for at least 2 hours after this workout. So no fruit, no carbs, no bread, none of that. You want to go straight for protein. And the reason you want to avoid carbs after this kind of workout is because eating carbs releases a chemical in your body called somatostatin. And what it does is it actually blocks the release of human growth hormone, which is the very point, is the whole point of this exercise. So you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot by consuming sugars afterwards. You just want to go straight for some protein. And what I recommend is that you purchase some grass-fed whey protein, and it has to be a whey protein concentrate, not isolate, and mix that with some water or with some whole milk. It doesn't really matter, but just make sure you stay away from sugar. That's the main detail you want to follow. In the last video, I hinted to you how my friend Alex, the fighter, gave me a suggestion that allowed me to get veins on my abs for the very first time in about 6 weeks' time. Now, and I told you what that was. That was cutting carbs, but that was really only half the story. In the next video, I'm going to explain to you how to do this in a way that won't make you hate life. Just cutting carbs isn't quite going to do it. You have to know how to do it properly so that you can maintain high energy levels, you don't get irritable and fatigued and sluggish. So I want you to look out for my email. It's going to say from Victor Dorfman, that's me, and the subject is going to say video Alex's secret. Okay, so watch out for that in your inbox and definitely click through and check it out. And if you have any questions or comments about this video, go ahead and leave your comments below, and I'll come around and respond to anything that you've left. And I'll see you in just a bit.